you know that 14,000 children are born with sickle cell disease in Kenya every year? A lot of work has been done around the areas of research, advocacy, and dissemination of information. But a lot still remains to be done. Today we are speaking with Michelle Omulo, who is a sickle cell warrior and advocate. We're going to be talking about her experiences living with the disease and the work she does around the same. Welcome.
Join and share this moment. All truth and laughter is all for mix. Join and share this moment. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. For the Joanne and Show.
Hi, my name is Michelle Omulo. I'm 29 years of age, living with sickle cell disease, a sickle cell advocate, and a filmmaker by profession. I was diagnosed with sickle cell when I was 3 years old in Nairobi, Kenyatta National Hospital. My mom started seeing my eyes getting yellow, and she was a bit shocked, so she took me to the hospital. So that's why I was diagnosed with sickle cell disease. I always ask her what was her reaction, and she was so shocked. Okay, she wasn't shocked because it ran in my father's family. My late dad's sister had sickle cell, and she also had a kid who had sickle cell, but she died at the age of 10.
Okay.
So it didn't come as a surprise to her.
How was school like? How was life for you as a young girl? By the time you were getting to, say, nursery school or grade 1, were you already aware that you had sickle cell disease?
I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware when I was in nursery school, and up to my grade 1, I wasn't aware. I had some very painful crisis. So I was asking my mom, like, hey, what are this? Is it why am I different? Like, why am I not like the other children? They play, they go about running about and playing hide and seek. And when I did that, I used to have crises in the morning. Very early in the morning, I used to have crises. So I didn't understand until when I was in my upper primary school that, hey, anyway, you have sickle cell. So I was like, okay.
So did she have a conversation with you about it?
Okay, she didn't really have a conversation with me about it. She was just helping me get my medications and helping me to take them on a regular basis. There was a point that I really stopped taking my medication because it was too much. But I realized that the medication was for my own good. So I really took the medication, especially hydroxyurea. Just came in about maybe 2015.
How old were you at that time?
2015, I had finished high school. I was around 23 or something. So I had to really take my medication because I knew that taking medication would give me a longer lifespan. Yes.
So just to take you back a bit, you say that as a young girl, whenever you go, you went out to live your life as a normal child, that you'd get a crisis.
A crisis.
I know there are people who are asking and wondering what a crisis means in this context.
A crisis is when you get stressed, you get a crisis. When you think too much, when you think a lot, you get a crisis. And also a crisis comes, it's the pain that sickle cell warriors go through. So you find that the joints, the arms, the elbows, the knees,
joints,
of the lower leg, the back, the chest. So you find out that all of them ache when you have a crisis.
It's painful.
It's painful, very painful. Sometimes even painkillers can't even take away the pain.
So usually what's the way out of that pain?
Okay, with the way out of that pain, is maybe when you have an infection or malaria, that is when the pain comes, or when you're stressed. That's when the pain comes, and it comes on a frequent many levels. So especially when you're a teenager, when you're transitioning from a child to a teenager, the pains come more frequently.
Probably because of the numerous changes that are taking place in your body.
So that's why management is just drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated, because when you're dehydrated you also get a crisis.
Or when you're dehydrated.
Yeah, because now the sickle blood cells, they get sticky.
Yeah, and so they cannot
going through the veins.
vessels.
Yes, going through the veins, so they get sticky, and that is when you have a crisis. And also taking your medicine on a daily basis. I know the medicines are very expensive. Also, hydroxyurea is very expensive. It's a cancer drug that also works for us. It works in two ways. It helps us build blood, and also it helps us stay away from crises.
Okay.
So when you're continuously taking hydroxyurea, you are free from crises. And also when you're going for the checkups every month or after every 2 months, you're free from crises.
Like we started at the beginning, we said there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of myths around sickle cell disease. So first, I know the people who are wondering, what is the difference between sickle cell disease and traits? And the sickle cell trait is what is commonly referred to as being a carrier.
Yes.
What is the difference between the two?
Okay, the difference between the two is when you are a carrier or a trait, you have a normal gene that's A, and then an S gene that's S. So the carriers don't really get frequently sick because the A gene protects them.
Oh.
Yes. So you find out that when you marry an AS without the knowledge about getting to know a genotype, that is when you have a sickle cell child. Also, when two carriers get married, possibility of them getting to have sickle cell children is 25%. Yeah, 25%. And I was at Eldoret ICI, International Cancer Institute, and there were parents who came to celebrate the World Sickle Cell Day with us in June 9th. So this lady, I was so drawn to this lady because she had 3 children who are sicklers, sickle cell warriors. So it happens that when the genes play, you get to have sickle cell warriors. Yeah. So
there's also a 50% chance that you can have children
who are normal,
and do not.
25% also who are 50% chance who are like QAS carriers, and then 25% chance people who are normal AA. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a gamble, and
it's a gamble.
It would have led me into more, but I will hold that thought for a while. I'll bring it on later.
Okay.
The second thing is, but I think we've covered most of it, but you can build onto it. How it comes about. I think we've talked about all of that, right?
Yes.
With the genes and all of that. So the medical problems that it causes. I know there is the crisis. Why it gives you a lot of pain. But I understand that there is more. There's more to it.
Actually, there's more to it, because when we are urged to go to the hospital once we experience a crisis. Because when we experience a crisis, that is when we start developing complications. Like stroke. I had a mild stroke that affected my right side.
Okay.
Yes, in 2010. And they bring about stroke, they bring about paralysis, then the complications that is.
What about the rest of your body?
Okay, I didn't introduce the drugs that we take. We take folic acid, we take zinc, we take paludrin for us who are living in malaria regions. We take also Pen V, for the babies, Pen Bs for the babies who are maybe coming up. So that's it. And we're talking about the complications, right? The complications can be, you can also develop like ulcer when you don't take zinc.
Okay.
So zinc, I heard that with time it affects your body. So
The zinc itself.
Zinc itself, the tablet is the tablet that is dispersible in water. So the other natural way to go about it is you eat bananas. Bananas are rich in zinc, and also avocado. Avocado, the oil lubricates our bones.
Okay. It's not
So that we cannot
joints.
get hip, we cannot get a vascular necrosis that always affects people on the hips, and then we have to get a hip replacement or get a metal plate put inside of them. So that is why those are the things that affect them, and also in ulcer, leg ulcer, you don't take zinc.
There's extensive work and research, advocacy that has been done, dissemination of information that has been done around sickle cell disease. So the question is, right now you guys are pushing for children.
Pushing for children also.
To be tested very early on.
Very early. JTRH does it. Teaching and referral does it.
At birth.
At birth. The newborn sickle cell screening launch was done last month, last year November, and it's really working. Yes, it's really working.
So is it mandatory that if I go to JTRH today have a baby, that it's mandatory for that baby
to be screened for sickle cell? It's very mandatory. You cannot leave the hospital without your baby getting tested for sickle cell. Because
and I see how important it is, because there's a lady I knew where I live who she's of modest means, and she had a baby. It took them very long to get a diagnosis. So all this while the kid would get sick all the time, the child would be in pain, and I think she used to go to their local dispensary. And they're probably not well equipped to handle sickle cell. So it took so long that they only got a diagnosis, I think, at 4. Yeah, but that is very risky because
because there can be complications arising when they have crises. So it is important for people to get tested also. We do genotype testing, like now it's called HB electrophoresis. Nigeria calls it genotype, but in Kenya you call it HB electrophoresis. It's done in Nigeria, it's done in Ghana. They've advanced because they have sickle cell. They have a huge population of people living with sickle cell. So it's done, and the advocacy is way better than Kenya. Kenya sickle cell used to be a neglected disease. Nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to speak about it
and deal with it.
Even when you tell a parent, hey, mami, mtoto wako anakaa kama ako na sickle cell because of the eyes, of the yellow eyes. So when you tell them that, they get offended.
Yeah, and they're going to deny.
So even when I work with Dr. Mushela, Dr. Muri Mushela, she's also a pediatrician in Obama section. So we are working with them. We are working with her to at least get the number of patients coming in, the number of parents coming in, putting them in a support group, no, a physical support group, talk to them, to sensitize them, to encourage them. So you find out that in Kenya it was a neglected disease, no one wanted to hear about it. But now I'm very happy because people are talking about it, people are going forth, coming out, speaking about sickle cell. No one wanted to speak about sickle cell. No one at all.
So now, as you know, my mother, I'm in Shugs. I've had a baby in the local dispensary. The baby has not been screened for sickle cell disease. How do I advise my neighbor, or how do I, as a mom, ensure that this happens? Where do I go? Why do I start? My child is probably, I don't know, 2-3 years. I just want to know. Or maybe I've seen them struggle with their health and I'm suspecting there's something wrong. So how do I get screening outside of QTRH if I did not have my baby at QTRH?
You can get screening. Okay, when you start talking to a mother living in shags, you have to really go easy on them. Go easy on them because maybe most of them are not educated, so you should just go with their level. And you should tell them, hey mommy, aneno kanya thini ni kuna vile yuko. Nitire hospital moro kanyo mipimo tuo sickle cell. Tere ane kanyo mondo opime. Like take them to the hospital mondo they get tested. It's free, but it's free for children. It's free no matter what you need. It's free.
As long as you're under 5 or under 12? Under 12?
It's free. It's free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's being done for free. So you just talk to bring them close, find a way to bring them close and talk to them and ensure that they do it. Even if it's money that they lack, you give them.
Yeah, so that they make
it to Kisumu, they go to QTRH and they get the test done. I know most mothers are usually in denial. Sickle cell breaks homes. I've seen and I've heard. I have people in my group, women in a group who their husbands have left them. They are saying, this one is not from our home, this one is from your home, this is witchcraft from your home.
But they do not understand that it takes both parents.
Both parents to give birth to sickle cell, a kid with sickle cell. So also on the woman in the village, they will say it's chira. So it's very mandatory that you just go easy on them. You go step by step, take them step by step, take them through it, because they're not going to agree to take their children to the hospital. So it's just best that you just go easy on them, and if they don't have money, if it's money that they don't have,
you can
give them.
You're stepping in the
Yes.
What you said about families breaking because of sickle cell disease is very important, and it brings me to my next question, which is my next point rather. The importance of young couples or any couple that is getting into marriage.
Yes.
To do, you call it the genotype?
Genotype test or HB electrophoresis test. It's important for them to do it. Here in Kisumu, it's 2,700 at Path Experts. There's a lab near Golden Air Lights called Path Experts. That charges 2,700. And in Nairobi, they charge 2,000, just purely 2,000. At Madare Clinic, there's a clinic called Baraka, owned by Children's Sickle Cell Foundation. So there's also a hospital in Eldoret called ICI, International Cancer Institute, that also does it for 2,500.
We want to go deeper into your own experience.
Yes.
I remember growing up, whenever the issue, there was a lot of taboo. There was a lot of silence, just like you said, a lot of denial around sickle cell disease. And one of the things that fueled stigma around the disease was anytime it came up, the first thing that people would imagine is that it messes up your lifestyle. Sorry, your life expectancy.
Yeah.
How true is that?
It's not true. That is a myth. I was told that I couldn't pass the age of 5. I passed the age of 5. I was told I couldn't pass the age of 18, and people were really, so negative about it. And I was also scared, but I passed the age of 18, and now I'm 29 years of age. So sickle cell doesn't have a life expectancy. There's also a woman in Ghana who has lived up to 95 years of age. She got married, she had 5 children normally, just normal birth, 5 children.
Or is it that the stakes are better now because of the research and the advocacy that is around sickle cell? or was it just a myth from the beginning?
It was just a myth from the beginning.
Mm.
Because people didn't, there are no doctors to treat sickle cell, people who specialize in treating sickle cell. So maybe people would find out that people die at the age of 18, before they even reach 18. Yes.
Research probably was not being done, so people were not getting the care that they needed.
That they needed. But right now we can live we can live a full life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so there was a time when you had to deal with that.
Yes, I had.
What was your general reaction to it as a person?
General reaction, okay. Thank you for this. General reaction was actually, I think I was bullied back in primary school, and people didn't want to play with me, people did not associate with me, but I was like, okay. So I really had few friends, but the fewer the friends, the better. So I really, through my schooling days, I really had a really difficult time. To some extent, I really got like depressed, even going to school.
Because of the stigma, or because of
the way people look at you, the way people view you. What wanakuwa kama mayai. They carry you like an egg. There are a lot of things you can't do. There's just so many things you cannot do because under wamesema you cannot do them.
Not because you actually cannot do them.
Not because you can actually not do them. Me, as I was growing up, our house help really left us when I was in grade 1. So we were living with my mom. My dad died when I was 10 months. I was living with my mom and brother. My two siblings were in high school.
Just to cut you short,
Yes.
you said your dad died when you were 10 months old.
Yes.
Was it related to sickle cell disease?
No, it was
totally unrelated.
It was unrelated to sickle cell.
Okay.
So my mom taught me how to do house chores. I know how to do house chores. I know how to go about my way. My favorite hobby is cooking. When I cook, when I'm cooking, I'm just in my zone.
In your true element.
Yes, in my true element.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy cooking and also script writing. Also, So I really didn't have an easy time because back in the days it was machira, masijiano. I was even used to. My mom used to even give me kienyeji meds. A friend of hers recommended them, so she could just give them to me, and I would fall really sick.
They wouldn't help.
They wouldn't help because I'm using the kienyeji meds and also the ones from the hospital.
So, as a woman, how does that affect your decisions on marriage and childbirth?
Okay, first off, let's start from here. When you tell maybe a man that you're in a relationship with that, hey, I'm going to withdraw for some time, and you want to tell them that now you've gotten used to the idea that, hey, maybe this relationship can go far. So let me tell him my truth. So when you tell them that, hey, I'm a sickle cell warrior, I have sickle cell disease, what is that? So you try to start explaining to them like, hey, this and this sickle cell disease, it's a blood disorder, and blah blah blah. So they feel like they're not caught out to marry you because you die the next minute.
Yeah, they're playing to the misinformation and stigma.
Yes. So you start finding out that thrice a day, the calls start reducing. So
The next thing you know, you send him a text, it takes 24 hours to get a response.
Yes. Even 3 days, it takes 3 days to get the response. So you're like, what's happening to us? Like, I can't really do this. I'm afraid maybe unaweza kufa the next minute and so forth and so on. You're like, okay. So I went out. So men are really misinformed about sickle cell disease and what it is all about. We can get married. I have friends who gotten married and also have kids.
I have a friend who has sickle cell disease. She's married. First, she's a career woman, and then she's married, and she has 2 children.
Imagine that. So I'm thinking it's just the misinformation and lack of sensitization that has to do with the surrounding. But we can do better. We can be better wives. We can be better moms. So we're not different. We're not different. My mom raised me up to be a strong woman. No matter the case, no matter
it shows. It shows.
No matter how sick I am, once I get better, and she knew, once I get better, go and make me tea, go and fix this food, go and prepare breakfast, go and prepare lunch, go and prepare dinner. I used to prepare dinner, and I used to be like, I used to wake up, mop the house, prepare breakfast, wash the breakfast utensils, washing the breakfast utensils, and start on lunch. Starting on lunch, I wash the dishes, and then I start on dinner. I had no break.
Yeah, you just go about your daily life.
Kama kawaida. And also used to wash. After I finished my class 8, I used to wash clothes. Used to do practically everything in the house.
There's one thing that I'm still holding on to, and that is how impressed I am at the amount of work that has been done. Because looking at the things and the information and the way people handle sickle cell disease and the warriors from the 90s and the early 2000s is quite different. And you know, it would make you falsely believe like it wasn't an issue that society was dealing with. Because also in the particular area where we live, Nyanza Western, it's actually the prevalence is quite high.
It's quite high, most Nyanza and then Western and then now coastal regions.
Yeah, so that back then the information was so little that you would falsely believe it wasn't affecting people.
Yes, it wasn't affecting people.
So very recently people have picked the areas of their lives that they feel affected, or their loved ones feel affected, and they've gone out to talk about it, to advocate, to put information out there. I've seen people do it with autism, which a lot of people did not know much about autism. They did not have information about autism. It is now happening about mental health issues.
True.
And so in all of this, I'm so glad of the work that you do, especially around advocacy, and that is what I want us to talk about next. Yeah, take us through what you do as an advocate for sickle cell warriors.
Okay, as an advocate for sickle cell warriors, I do a lot with no pay. Actually, it's just ni kujitolea.
You have an organization
from your heart. Yeah, I started an organization as support group called West Kenya Sickle Cell Disease Support Group that supports. We have currently almost 80 members. Most mothers, most are caregivers, parents to sicklers, and also half of them are sicklers also. So we encourage each other, and also doctors are there. Encourage each other. We get blood for you when you are stranded, when you are having a blood issue, and actually in the hospital we get it for you. We call the regional blood bank. The regional blood bank's manager is called Magdalene. So I just call her, and she makes sure that we give her all the information, the hospital that you're in, the ward, the name of the child, the blood group that your child has, how many pints of blood do they want. So she's really been helpful together with Red Cross. So really, kitambo, it wasn't even very clear. You know, you are doing an advocacy, but you are not aware of what next step you want to take.
You just started from a point of
scratch.
passion.
Yes,
Yeah.
a point of passion.
I want to create impact in this area.
Yes. But you know, you go to knock on these doors and they're like, we'll call you later, don't call us, we'll call you later, we'll call you back. But they never call, so you're like, okay. I studied it in 2016. 2017 I went to college and I decided to just not do it anymore because I was, this thing is too hard. So in 2021 actually, there's a woman in my group who's the chairlady for Children's Sickle Cell Foundation. So she called me, she was like, we were in communication with her. So I didn't even know that she was the one that she's in charge of, she's the chairlady of Children's Sickle Cell Foundation. So I was like, okay. She called me and told me like, hey, we're celebrating our 20 years this year, this November. Could you be able to come? So I was like, why?
Daunting.
Yes. Back there, okay, I didn't have any money on me, so I was like, God. I was like, God, if you want me to really go to this event, to this celebration, help me get some cash. And to my surprise, I'm a community action group working with NTA, National Taxpayers Association. So they gave us some job and they paid us really well, more than I expected. In just that 1 week they paid us. So I was like, okay, let me start going. So when I went there, I learned a lot actually. I learned a lot from them, even though I didn't stay in Nairobi for too long, but it was just 2 days and I came back to Kisumu. So she has been holding my hands because they have a clinic that's up and running in Mathare. That's called Baraka Clinic, or you can call it German Doctors Clinic. They're partnering with the German doctors. So I really got to learn, and I also got to learn when I went to Eldoret ICI. And I took some few things back home and I was like, okay, let's do this. My main aim was to shoot movies that create awareness on sickle cell. People are not aware of the disease, people are not aware of how to treat them, how to handle us. So you find that there's a gap that needs to be bridged. So that's how I do my advocacy. That's how I recently joined a partnership with the DOTRH, or formerly known as Russia. The CEO called Dr. George Rai started this movement called Sickle Cell Zero movement. So it ilianza tu kama mchezo, like started like a joke. I was like, okay. I was visiting his office on a regular basis. So then I was like, Victoria, now what's next? What's up? What do you want to do with us? Just jokingly, because he's a friendly person, he's a very friendly man. So I was like, okay. So I, West Kenya, Tumaini Sickle Cell Disease, Sickle Cell Support Group, Foundation or something, also came in. Children's Sickle Cell Foundation also came in because they're also planning to open a clinic here, but they're starting with Homa Bay. So we started to just raise awareness and stop sickle cell children to be born.
You as a movie maker, yeah. Tell us more about your movies, if there's any that you filmed, if there's any you have done to completion. Where can we find it?
Can we find it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I have my movie was just recently released on YouTube. It's called Genotype.
You guys are doing such an amazing job because it's the concerted efforts of everybody, of advocates, of warriors, of doctors and researchers. that is in making the small improvements slowly over time, and
Over time.
the impact is quite commendable. How
Right.
does a caregiver go about the process of joining the support?
Joining the support group, they can take my number, 0748 017 850. So it is not easy, I know. For the caregivers, it is not easy. I know it is not easy, but it is God that gives us the grace to go on each day. So I would want to urge them to just keep on doing what they're doing, keep on doing what they're doing. They are doing their best. I know they're doing their best. It's not easy, but God did say that this life would be easy. So you just have to take one step at a time, and
keep going.
one step at a time and one day at a time. They're learning. I know most probably they're learning about the disease. Maybe they was diagnosed at maybe 4 months or 3 months or maybe at birth. You learn. And so you don't just get born to like, hey, you're a pro. No, you learn on the job of being a caregiver and doing what is best for your child. So I want to just ask them to just keep on doing what they're doing. They're doing an amazing job. They're doing an amazing job. And no one can understand their kids better than they can. So it's just pull up your socks, brush, wipe your tears, know that this kid needs you. The kid needs you because you're like their hero. Mommy can take the boo-boo away. Mommy can make the boo-boo feel better. Such kind of thing. So you do what you're doing, continue doing what you're doing, and God will bless you in the end.
Alright guys, that was such an amazing conversation with Michelle Umulo. She's an advocate, and she also lives with sickle cell disease. And until next time, goodbye.